Hello, builders. Today we're going to be talking about building your foundation. And this is where normally I should have spoken about business registration, but we had already dealt with the identity crisis yesterday, trying to decide if you are a planner or if you're not supposed to be a planner. And I don't believe the people who followed us into day two are event planners, people who want to take this serious. And anybody taking this serious by now should have their business registered with CAC. I'm not going to teach that. But today we're going to be discussing about how you can build a very solid foundation for your business. And to do that, for every professional business to be successful, there are four arms. The first arm is your systems. The second arm is money, of course, which is why you're in business. The third arm is your brand, and the fourth arm is legal. A lot of the time, people take this one for granted, and we're going to come to that. For the first arm of building your professional business, the first arm is systems. Systems. These are very important things you must put in place. What are the tools that an event planner needs? What are the processes an event planner needs? What is your customer relationship management system? For tools does not necessarily mean a notepad and a book. What are the physical tools an event planner needs? An event planner doesn't go to school to learn things like tailoring and then you're getting equipment. You might need to get softwares. You might need to get tools such as Trello. You might need to get planning apps, software apps that helps you put your itinerary together, that helps you plan your client's business properly. The most basic thing you can ever learn, or the most basic tool you can have, is to know the basic, which is learning how to use Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. Those are like the basic things. And then as you graduate, there are other advanced tools that you must have as an event planner, that you must know how to use, know how to operate. Processes. For processes, I always advise, no matter how much skills and theoretical knowledge that you have, you need to go through process. That's field management. You need to be tried on the field. You need to go on the field and see what it feels like to be an event planner on a normal day, not just the idea that you have that you can put things together. Go through process, create a system for customer relationship. What is the way you would prefer? What system do you have in place to deal with a rude client? What system do you have in place to deal with a client that slapped you? What system do you have in place to deal with a client that accused you of stealing their money or not giving proper accounts of their money? Create a good customer relationship management. When people hear customer relationship management, they think it is all about making the client happy, making the customer happy. A customer, I hope you are aware that you can have both good and bad customers. Yes or yes? The next tool, money. Money is very, very important for you to build whatever business that it is that you're having. Event planning is not capital intensive. That is true. However, there are certain things about finances that you need to put in place, such as your pricing model. If somebody wants you to plan 100 guests, what is your pricing model? If somebody wants you to plan 100 guests, same number of guests, but they want you to plan it under the snow, what is your pricing model? You need to have all of this factored in mentally and written down on paper with a biro. Thirdly is your budget. This is where a lot of planners have issues. You, as a planner, you need to have a budget for your business to run. When you're starting, I believe I'm talking to newbies. When you are starting, you might not necessarily have a lot of staffs that you're paying salaries. Most of them might just be contract staff whom you are paying on the day of the job or as the event is going on. But you need to have a budget on how you would run your activities. What are things that fall under budget? You have a job, you might need to get your hair done. You might need to get a dress. You might need to pay for marketing. Budget the most important things that will make you go bankrupt after planning an event, because it is not just enough to put a good price here. You can put a good price here, and after the entire event, this is it. You can put a good price here, and after the entire event, you go bankrupt because you did not have a particular budget for how that event should run. This is the difference. This place here, you see this thing here, this is the margin between what you are spending and where your profit is going to come from. Your pricing and your budget. Accounts, you need to have, of course, if you're doing this properly, like I said, everything should be penned down, paper and biro, written down somewhere, Google Sheets, anything. Use the tools that you have already to make sure that you have a good accounting system. If I see you after an event, I should be able to ask you, what was your accounting like for the last events that you had? That's how you know that you are growing. You do not grow by number of followers on social media. You grow by how much rabbi you have. Now, brand. The foundation of any successful profession and professional business is the brand that they are trying to build. And in branding, you have to have a very, very solid foundation, which will also lead to your reputation. What do people know you as? How are you positioning yourself? I did a video explaining how one of my friends reached out to me, explaining how some of the videos I've been putting out, she's worried that people might begin to see me as somebody who is cheap and a planner who is affordable. And while I was just doing that from the sincerity of my heart, my positioning was putting my reputation at stake. Some of you take jobs and say, "Oh, I just want to do it because of content." That's a good way to start. However, make sure that even that make sure that that job that you are taking just because of content, your positioning in that job is very, very strong. You don't come off as somebody arrogant, and you don't come off as somebody desperate. What that means is you can do a very discounted job for one client, but when they are recommending you to their friend, they're not recommending you as somebody who is cheap. I suffered this in the early days of my business. They just think, "Oh, they can ride on her. She's cheap. She's okay. She's a very good girl. She's very cool headed." And then your positioning has a way of affecting how people are going to see you, your reputation, how people perceive you, how they think, what they think your worth is. Everything put together. Finally, other branding is marketing. You know that you are good. Put yourself out there. Talk about yourself. Put yourself out there. Pay for art. Do whatever it is to tell somebody about the skills that you have. Do not keep silent. Closed mouths don't get fed, right? Marketing. We already spoke about having a budget for marketing. This is where you see everything is intertwined, right? Everything is together. And then um the last arm of a very solid foundation in your business is legal. A lot of event planners do not have lawyers. Now, you have gone to start a business, but you do not have anybody who is advising you on legal matters. Wait until somebody sues you, then you understand why you need to get a lawyer involved. This is not something you should play with because you are dealing with people's lives, you are dealing with people's finances. Get a lawyer. Get a lawyer that you are accountable for to in your business. Whenever something looks dicey or funny or something fishy is just going on about a particular client, call your lawyer and say, "Oh, this is what is going on. This is what is going on. How can you advise?" No client should pay you without signing a contract. A contract that we are agreeing that we do not owe in this our own agency. Can you agree to that? A contract that we would have a very respectful and mutual business relationship. I need you to sign on that. Have a contract. Agreement. Things agreements could be things like, "Oh, I wanted the client wanted this, but if this is not available, will this be an option you are willing to explore?" Let that be an agreement. It might not be written in a contract, but it could just have a written proof that there were agreements for certain changes that might just happen. Or else or else as a new event planner, you'll be taking on a lot of accusations that you are not guilty of. Make sure that you have proof of any agreements that you have, especially if the agreement is something that is going against the initial desire of the client in the beginning. Sorry, this is social media, so I have to rush this. Lastly, your policies. What are the things that you do not take? What are the things you do not appreciate? As a business, I do not appreciate my clients making advances towards my female staff. I do not appreciate a client raising their voice at my staff. I do not appreciate a client raising their hands on my staff. I do not appreciate a client I do not appreciate a client saying things that are not true about our contracts. I do not appreciate a client telling their families that they paid me 500 million when they only paid me 2 million naira. Policies. People should know what your policies are. There are a lot of reasons why a lot of businesses fail. And businesses do not just fail because the planner was not good or because the planner was not talented. Why do businesses fail? The truth, why the businesses fail? The simple answer is psychology. Failure is tied. Failure is tied to psychology. That is the simple answer why businesses fail. I don't believe businesses fail first. I actually think that people fail first, then their businesses follow after. Why? Because a disorganized person will end up building a disorganized business. Does that make sense? Someone who is poor with boundaries will eventually build a business that has no boundaries. Someone who is poor with communication will build a business that doesn't believe in transparency and integrity. Someone with zero integrity will build a business that is known for being sneaky. Your business is just an extension of who you are. And these are three ways in which businesses fail. First, the people, of course, like I just said, the business is who you are, your character, your leadership style, your communication, your character. How well do you communicate? How well do people like you? Of course, you might not be able to control who likes you and who hates you, but character, what are your morals? What do people know you for? Leadership, how well do you treat your staff? You cannot build a business alone. If you are always having issues with your staff, you are going to fail in business because you cannot build a business alone. You're having issues with your staff, you talk to them anyhow, you don't look out for them. You are somebody who is going to have a business and nobody's going to be ready to make sacrifice for you because you're a very wicked person. Communication, you just believe that when you make a decision, it should remain like that. Nobody should be able to question your decision. You must be somebody who communicates. Money, we've spoken about pricing, profits, and cash flow. Remember when I explained that the your profit is in between your pricing and your budgeting, right? If you do not do this properly, you're going to have a very failed business. You just keep on doing charity. Systems, what processes the clients need to follow before they secure you, before they book you as a planner? What structures do you have? What boundaries do you have? That people will just know. A client just knows that if you go beyond this boundary, I'm making a refund, and I'm not making 100% refund. I'm making 50% refund. I'm making 30% refund because you broke a boundary, because you crossed a boundary that we both agree that you're not going to cross. Like I said, who are you becoming while you are building? Because clients are not going to pay you for flowers and for decor. Clients will pay you for peace of mind. Clients will pay you for you. They are paying they are paying an event planner who can make tough decisions when things go wrong. Your personality matters. I have explained why professionalism matters and why boundaries matters. I think we should go live. This is a lot to post once. If you want us to take day three as a live session, just comment live in the comment section and we would go live on day three instead of recording, so that I have enough time to explain all of my points. I'm rushing this, and of course, and that's I'm just allowing you to take a look at the screen so you can look at it later. But there's so much more that I need to explain, and I cannot do that by recording. I hope this helps.